and this is how much it costs. Okay, cool. How could we get that funding? And then it moves from there. And when you've got that culture, and then you've got more information coming in, then that's when things start manifesting themselves and literally taking place, rather than just being something that is up in the air.
For sure. Okay. When with these events, because it really sounds really interesting, these events, what are the demographics that come to these events? Because I'm wondering, are there individuals who lack the knowledge of, or may not have the education? Because these sound like very educational people that come together and share information. Is there a void of individuals that lack that education that come to these events?
Certainly. I mean, just in the first 3 weeks, it's mostly based off of like my friend group of people who've been in contact with noise. We have had people just off the street walk in, but you're walking and you're like, where am I? So people have to orient themselves, and I think it's about what's nice about Power Hour is that we have this consistent one location, but then people need other options and more choices and more places to gather. And so my call out is like, hey, come to these, see how it kind of works, and then host your own. Because noise isn't me, noise isn't just my team, noise is everybody. And so if folks can just continue to encourage dialogue in whatever space they feel comfortable with whoever else, and then start trying to collect those ideas and do something with it, distill it somehow, then we're good to go. And so it's definitely something I want to see, though, is more young people, like 20 and under, especially in high school, who are we have these young adults out here who are fully capable, have a lot of ideas, have a lot of opinions. I can't imagine being in high school right now. I can't imagine it. Being in middle school, being like 13, I don't want to. Nope. I'm glad that's over. Because but like, think of how in the center of just the world they are, that they're experiencing, but they may not feel they can do something about it. To be able to have those young people engage with noise, work on content creation, learning principles of journalism, etc., then they can start affecting the world that's affecting them so much. They can develop stronger connections to each other and other people, versus just, I don't know, going your head down, and then next thing you know, everything's a mess, and then you don't know what to do.
Have you thought about developing workbooks for young individuals that say can't get to the actual location yet, but you can go to schools, you can get a workbook of information, just a starter, just a teaser kind of information, give it to them, have them work on it, and if they want it or are more interested, then they can try to get to those meetings and actually be informed and actually contribute to the conversation.
That's a great idea. I have been thinking about reaching out to a couple, like Central, North, and Blackburn specifically, because of their proximity to the work. But also the presence of, they have North and Central at least have school papers and where they do that, whereas I don't think Blackburn does. And so I would love to just connect with instructors there and the students there, and use something, I think a workbook or something that could help kind of test the waters. But I think there's a lot of really capable storytellers out here who are just looking for a platform. And so if to literally be like, hey, step up, whether you sing, whether you take photos, whether you write, we can, that's all, the medium you can learn. But there's the passion that you can't, and a lot of people have it, but they're just looking for somewhere to put it.
Now with you and your team, you said that you were the only one that had a journalism degree. What were the prerequisites for you to have other people added on to your team? Because the degree wasn't one of those.
Do you show up?
Like
really, is that not just to the meetings, but also for your community. The people who are present at the meetings, the people who are or even if they can't go to the meetings, they're vocal online, or they try to express themselves however way they can with whatever tools that they have. That is one of the first requisites, because literally, like, the writing and all that stuff can be learned. And everyone has a learning curve, and that kind of stuff. And sometimes they do some really heavy-handed editing, but that's just how people learn.
Yeah,
and you know, especially within communities of color, we don't have a lot of journalists just like running around with degrees or any formal training. And that's basically why noise exists, is because we're not really represented in a lot of traditional spaces.
It seems like that's like become more of the norm though, like that just against the grain, not that traditional training. Like I know, you know, Vice and things like that. Like a lot of people, they just get, you know, if they've got some background or they use their own platforms to do it. Why do you think that it's, I guess, become more of a norm now?
People want to connect and relate to their media. And so when they can see themselves represented, or someone is coming from where they came from and speaking, that's much more impactful. Especially if they can feel like, oh, I can do it, cool. Because for a long time, conventional media was very much like, here, we're telling you the news. Whereas now, like, you are the news. Especially because, I mean, how things are right now, everyone has a really unique perspective and has a tool, namely social media and a phone at their disposal, to be able to document that and share that perspective. So I just think about journalists historically. That's how we know our history. Like if you look back just at the last 50 years, a majority of the big stuff was documented by journalists, and moving forward, we just have more of them, and more mediums to share it in. So I think it'll be harder to fabricate history.
It seems way more trustworthy.
I hope so. You know,
it seems that way.
How do you empower your staff? Because when I think of what you have in your degree, I think of off the top of my head, comedians on Instagram. Not trying to poo-poo or anything, but I think pretty much they don't have a traditional route towards as comedians. So some of them look down on them. How do you empower your staff to empower themselves and continue to be journalists, even though they don't have that background, like a traditional background?
Certainly. I always ask what's on your heart first. So when we're talking about stories, moving forward, ask about what do you care about. And that's not where a lot of bosses start, or in traditional newsrooms. But I ask what's on your heart because literally, you're thinking about it, it's influencing how you are acting and feeling right now. I would much rather you follow that and then inform it, so you can inform other people. So an example being, Ashley Salem, she's one of my reporters, and she's awesome. She got a child, and she's really just into like tuning your body to the world and being present and those types of things. And she says, well, something on my heart has really been rest and remembering to do so, and that I get so wrapped up in being busy in the season that you forget about yourself and your mind and really call me those things. I'm like, you're not alone. And so the fact that I asked you what was on your heart and you shared this, and that's something that's relatable, then let's talk about that. So then my notes to her, or find a therapist or someone who can speak to that, and then do some research on how rest is important for your physical self. That way you're talking about something that's relatable, and then we're able to share some information with people that can help them embrace that.
I agree.
So, and she's like, oh, I'm interested in that anyway. This is something I want to know more about, and I care about it. And so we follow that line, and you're able to get something much more organic and something people want to connect to, rather than trying to force whatever. And then the more we step outside of that space and interact with our community, we're able to inform what is on your heart. You know what I mean? Because I interact with these people and they shared this with me, so I think it makes sense for me to write about this or talk about this. Great. So that's how I try to empower the team, is treat them like humans.
Sure. You have anything else? When we get back from the break, we'll ask Dawaune a little more personal questions, so please don't go nowhere. Hold that. I got to just redo the thing real quick.
Oh, okay.
I want to know more personal. I want people to know you, but more personal.
No problem.
Okay.